All right, welcome to this semester's first Capstone Chat, and we are very lucky to have Tessa Sawyers speaking to us from Middleburg, Virginia. That's right, Middleburg,
Yes.
Murray,
Yep. Middleburg.
all those Virginia places, they confuse me. Anyway, she is a 2017 graduate of the comm department, and she could now best be described as a digital media strategist. She's done all sorts of cool things with social media. Those of you that are in the strategic comm concentration are going to find this just jam full of information. So without further ado, here you go, Tessa.
Hi, nice to meet all of you guys today. As Monica said, I graduated in 2017 in December. Mainly while I was in school, I focused on the strategic comms area. While I was in school, I did marketing for actually a shooting range in Frederick, Maryland. So I did their social media, their paid ads, a little bit of everything. Learned a lot while I was there, while I was in college. And then right out of college, I ended up with a job at a small DC agency doing search engine optimization. So I learned a lot within that first year out of college, and then from there went on to do things with NIH, the National Institute of Health, within the SEO field. I did Air National Guard social media, so social media management. And now I did corporate stint. I worked at Capital One doing paid ads for their credit cards, and then decided I wanted to do a little bit of my own thing. Wanted to make my own schedule. Wanted to be able to decide what types of clients that I wanted to work on. And so now I have an LLC. I've been working under my LLC for 2 years now. I have 4 clients. My 2 main clients, one of them is an AI-based genetic analysis tool. And I do their content, I do their pitch decks, I do their paid ads, I do their email strategy, I do a little bit of everything under that umbrella for them. And then my second main client is basically an agency. So I subcontract out for them. It's an agency in California that all of their clients are marijuana delivery companies. So I do their paid advertising, all of their display ads. I'm getting ready to create a TikTok campaign for them. I write some of the copy for the ads, and then I just run all of their ads through an ad server. My 2 other clients, one is an advertising technology company. They do more AI-based things, so AI-based video ads. And then I do some email marketing for a Salesforce application. I really enjoy working on so many different things during the day. I literally, wake up each day. I have a list of things I need to get done. I get to decide what order I get them done in. I get to work on different things, content creation, reporting, analytics, all of the things that make my nerdy little heart sing. But I largely, since I am a contractor, I am a consultant, I sort of get to craft and help those clients decide what is important to do and what is important for them. Yeah, so that's I guess the baseline of what I do, and I'm happy to answer any questions of how you get here, or what exactly within that I do, or whatever you guys want to know.
How did you?
You're such a powerhouse. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I was gonna say, how did you get your clients?
Yeah, so most of my clients have actually come from I did those first couple years at companies, and then people from those companies have moved on, and then they, their connections are looking for people, and they're like, hey, Tessa, what are you doing these days? Like, can you take on more work? My friend at so-and-so needs a marketer. And then the other, I would say my other leads or my other clients have just literally come from LinkedIn. So I stay active on LinkedIn. I'm, sharing posts. I'm liking people's posts. I always keep my open to new opportunities checked, even if I'm really not open to opportunities, because that just means that either recruiters are going to reach out to you and yeah, maybe they might be annoying, but maybe it might be something you want to work on. But especially if you're a freelancer, you're really always looking for the next thing or how to build. So I'm looking to build an agency, so I'm looking to nail 2 more clients and be able to hire someone. So I'm looking to continue to build that client base. I see Luke had a question.
Yeah. So what all did you do for the gun range or the gun company? What? Tell us more about that. That sounds interesting.
Yeah. So they're actually still open. They're in Frederick, Maryland, Heritage Training and Shooting Center. They're like I would say they're a firearms training facility. So they do like women's first, teaching first time shooters, the proper safe way to do things. I started out there as just customer service. Before that I was working at UPS loading trucks in the morning from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. and then working at a gym in the afternoon and going to college. So it was a much needed change. And I started out there at front desk, and they had an agency that they were spending insane money on. And I said that I could do the social media better than they could. And so they let me try it. So it was a really good opportunity. They, gave me a chance. Yeah. I guess Michelle next.
Yeah. So do you work from home mostly, or are you in an office? So it's your own hours that you can do it by.
Yeah. I have worked remotely for about 2.5 years now. So just, wherever I want to. Sometimes I start out the morning on the couch for a couple hours, if that's the vibe. I will say I myself have a habit of overworking, so sometimes it's bad because I get up and I usually get up at like 6. So I get up at 6, have my coffee and start working, and then sometimes I don't stop working until 6. But that's just my habit. Yeah. Ricky?
Yeah, I was wondering like what kind of things went into doing paid ads for a company like Capital One.
Well, I will say like I work right now with mostly startups, so like it's a lot of like you wear every hat versus a company like Capital One is so large that you really only wear one hat. It's a very small hat. You have to be really good at wearing that hat. Like you have to be so good at wearing just that hat, which is good if that's what you like and you like to do one thing and you like to do it well. For me, while it was stable and I learned a lot of things within that one hat, I just sat there and was like, I don't want to do Excel sheets for 8 hours a day.
Right.
But I will say, starting out at a company like that, or working a few years at a company like that, opens up so many doors to you. One, just through connections. If you do your job well and you you excel at that, you end up meeting so many people that again move on, and the marketing or the communications field, it's big, but it's small. You end up running into the same people in different places, if that makes sense, even digitally.
Right. Thank you.
Kayla?
Can you tell me about email marketing?
Yeah. So email marketing, it really depends on the company that you're working for, the industry that you're working in. It can mean a lot of different things. My experience usually is more content-based. So most of the email campaigns that I run are educational email campaigns, our cold lead email campaigns. So I'm like writing emails to try to get someone to buy a software, to sign up for a demo, or to sign up for meetings. But sometimes email marketing can mean setting up automations and setting up segmentations and building, top funnel plans of how to take a potential customer, through automations to make them a loyal customer. Does that make sense? I guess. Yeah.
Thank you.
Was James next?
So, what would you say is like, I know you said you tend to overwork, but like, what are your like biggest challenges from working with home? Because like, I feel like that's a big possibility for a lot of us, given the circumstances. So, what's like your biggest issue with that?
Yeah, I would say my biggest issue is that I don't know when to stop, or I don't know when to, especially since I have my email on my phone, I have Slack on my phone. Like I usually have trouble just not checking things or not working. But then I would say the flip side to that is, and I'm sure you guys know it now because you're sitting here on Zoom, it's making good use of the time that you do have with people and knowing how to ask the right questions, knowing how to strategize and make the best use of your time, while also making sure that that not all of your interactions with people feel transactional. I moved to a new town right after I went remote, so I didn't have any friends, didn't know anybody, and I found like since I was working from home, only talking to people when I needed something, or like when they needed something. I had a period where, I felt very isolated, or felt very no person-to-person contact. So you have to make sure if you are working from home that you, find those outlets or find the ways that you like to get that person-to-person connection elsewhere. So, I don't know if that makes sense. That's a little emotional, but you get what I'm saying. Who's next? Is it Patty?
Yeah, what's your most used skill, or what you find the most valuable when you're working?
I would say most used, like, soft skill would be note taking and schedule making. Most used technical skill would probably be analytics. Like that's something that isn't something that you would think that you have to learn how to do, but being able to look at numbers and infer and make recommendations, or make things out of those numbers. Like sure, you can make a chart, but then like what does that chart mean? It usually is what makes the client want to work with me or whatever. I'm like, hey, I see your website does this and your ads do this, and so I think you should do X. And that usually is something that sounds easy but comes with time. That makes sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Robert.
So my question is, what kind of things are required for you for running like social media, like management?
Yeah, I will say when I first started out, like when I first got my job managing social media, I was doing the Air National Guard's social media, and it was really, I needed a little bit of a portfolio, so I needed to show that I could make creatives, that I could do a little bit of graphic design or whatever, Canva, whatever it was. I had some graphics to show. But also on the back end, I would say that doing those certifications, those like free certifications that you can do, help you out when you're first starting out. So like the Hootsuite, if you can do like Facebook ad certification or Google ad certification, those sort of things, just to show that you have the knowledge, like the background knowledge to do things. But I would say just being able to talk about it and knowing like some of the metrics and some of the buzzwords would really help you out as far as like an interview and just starting out. Cool. Jacob.
When you were still in college, did you ever struggle or second guess yourself while you were doing your major classes?
Oh yeah, my semester before my last one, and I ended up graduating this semester early, so it's not that I did pretty good, but the semester before I was like, I have no idea what I'm gonna do, like I don't even know if this is worth it, I want to quit. And I went and talked to Matt Cushion, Professor Cushion, and he gave me a pep talk, and then so I stuck it out, and here I am. Yeah, I would say that just keep in mind that communications in new media, communication degree can really be whatever you make it into, and that sounds daunting, like where you're sitting now. But really, as long as you're taking the right steps, you're coming out of college and you don't really have to land right where you are going to end up, if that makes sense. Like you're going to make some little leapfrog lily pads on the way. And eventually you'll end up where you need to be, or at the very least learn what you don't like to do. And that's okay too. You can go to a job and just learn that you don't like that. And that's a valid that's a valid thing to learn. Does that answer your question, I guess?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Grace.
Hi, thank you for being here. I was like very early on, I just went down a rabbit hole in my mind, but you mentioned doing like a project for one of your clients that has to do with TikTok. Is that like a new format for you? How do you plan on integrating your skills into that? I'm kind of curious about what that will look like for you.
Yeah, so it will be my first, right now, I guess it will be my first time using it professionally. I've been consuming for a while, but it will be my first time using it professionally. I've run a lot of lead generation campaigns, like for various different industries. This one will be for the cannabis industry. So it'll be, it'll be a little bit more fun content. So we'll be able to have fun with it, and be able to test some like more, I guess, organic type content. But at the baseline of things, it's still lead generation. So I'm still going to apply the same best practices that I would if I'm, trying to get leads for the genetics company, as I will to this sort of endeavor. So I'm still looking to create the best content that'll get the best click-through rate, the landing page that'll get the best form, the most amount of form fills. I'm still doing all of the same things. But I'm really excited to learn a new advertising platform. I'm always excited to learn something new. So, I'm looking forward to see how it works out.
I'm super excited for you. I wish you luck, and I know it's going to be awesome, and that's really cool. So enjoy that.
Yeah, thank you. All right, April.
Oh no!
Oh no! There she is.
Technical difficulties. I'm pressing buttons and all sorts of things. But hi, first of all, I have to say I love your attitude. I feel more inclined to actually ask you questions because I just love your energy. You actually answered my previous question about how do you maintain, I guess, your relevancy by doing your online certifications and things like that. So my follow-up question, just in case you were going to answer that, was what was your capstone and how was that for you?
I will preface this by saying that when I started my college career, my first 2 years, I wanted to be a writer. I didn't know what kind of writer, but I wanted to be a writer. And I had been writing poetry for a long time. So I decided to create a poetry book. I published it on Amazon. It's called Coffee and BS. Coffee and bullshit. So I had a lot of the poetry already written. I edited it and created a book, and then created a social media marketing plan for it, and marketed the book on Instagram, Facebook, etc. Now I still own that domain, so I'm planning on learning how to do drop shipping. is my next like fun project for myself. I know it sounds like work, but it's it's like I want to do like high-end coffee machines and like travel like coffee gear and learn how to drop ship. I know how to run the ads for it, so I'm figuring like I'll be able to make it happen. But yeah, that was my capstone was a poetry book.
That is so cool. Well, I look forward to that because I love coffee. But thank you for answering my question.
Yeah, of course.
And if you guys want, I have the book on my bookshelf in my office if you want to come in and check
You
it out a little bit.
Shayna.
Hi, so I'm curious to hear what actually got you interested in doing advertising.
Yeah, you know what? I think honestly it happened pretty organically. Like I said, I had the job in college. It was my, I guess, second, or actually it was my first semester at Shepherd, that I started that job at the shooting range and was just working front desk, like checking people in, started doing their social media. They were running Google ads at that time. And I think they were paying the agency $10,000 to run it. They were only getting like $3,000 of revenue from the campaign. And I was like, hey, let me try this too. And so I started running their ads, and I ended up being able to only spend $3,000 and make about $4,500. And I, just kept tweaking it and kept learning how to do things from there. And I would say just like my passion has always been proof, I guess. Passion is, I don't know, my proof is in the passion. I don't know how that goes, but I always like to be able to do things and then be able to measure how I do them. And I know that sounds like really nerdy, but it's always really cool to me if I'm like, hey, I created this thing, I created this page, I created this piece of content, and here's what it did, and I can show the proof of that what I did was worth it, or what I did with resulted in something. If that makes sense. Oh, Monica has a question.
I have a question. I was wondering, you mentioned funnels earlier. What kind of software are you using to manage your funnel development?
All kinds. My favorite right now, it's one called Vout. It's VBOUT. And it's a platform that allows you to do social media scheduling, landing page building, email marketing. It's your CRM. It's everything in one. But I also use HubSpot for some of my clients, and I use Salesforce for some of my clients. So I've had to learn a lot of tools. I will say I'm better at HubSpot, not as good at Salesforce. Salesforce is widely used in the tech industry, but I will say the email marketing of Salesforce is not where it's at for me anyway. Like they use a app that integrates called Pardot, and it's just, I don't know, I can't. But I use it. It's just not my favorite. Robert has another question.
So you mentioned that you published something for Amazon. It was your poetry book.
Yeah.
How difficult is it to publish something? And if so, can you like explain the process a little bit more and how you did it?
It's actually pretty dang easy. It's basically, you just have to design it out in Illustrator or whatever tool you want to use. PDF it, make sure it has a bleed, make sure bleed is in like the print margins. Amazon will let you publish pretty much anything, as long as I guess it's not bad. And they take a larger cut. Obviously, you're not going to make as much money as you would if you found a publisher, found somebody to print that, but you also don't have to put up any upfront costs. You get to use, you can use their templates to build it out. The only thing I would say that in addition to doing that, if you are like seriously writing a book, I mean, not that I wasn't seriously writing a book, but if you're seriously writing a book that you want to sell and you want to market, it's always helpful to also get it trademarked or also get it copyrighted. because that might not necessarily be included in the like the Amazon platform, and therefore someone could rip you off, steal your stuff. Which copywriting is just, you got to fill out some forms. It's a process, but it's not hard.
How many books did you sell of that one? Just out of curiosity. I remember, I was Tessa's Capstone director, and that was a very fun time for us.
Yeah, I ended up selling, I think I've sold like 112 over most of it to family and friends. But I did search it the other day, and like someone's selling a copy on eBay. And I'm like, what is this? But you know, it was a fun little project. Plus I still have a couple of the copies. It's something, something cool to show off, or something cool to say at parties.
Well, I have another question since no one else is in line at this moment. What do you wish that you'd learned more of in school?
Ooh.
Or you could start out with, what were you really happy, like what skill do you use the most that you got from school, and what now, a lot of time has passed, what do you think students leaving now should have under their belt?
I will say, I feel like I learned a lot of the baseline of how I think through things in the classes that I took at Shepherd, if that makes sense. Like some of the processes, or like the thing, like, how when you write an essay and like your teacher makes you do a pre-write, makes you do a draft, makes you do a pre-write exercise, all of those things seem really annoying at the time that you're doing them, but then you're 4 or 5 years out of college at this point, and you realize that all of those steps were to teach you how to do it in one smooth motion. And I think in a lot of the classes that I took at Shepherd, like the strategic communication classes, even the basics PR class, I remember just like the thought process of how to do branding, how to think through what are the goals, what are the KPIs, what are all of these things that they make you fill out the little chart for, are things that I do now just by like, let me look at their website and let me figure out what their brand strategy is. I will say that helped me out a lot, just the process part of it. And then I will say that I wish I would have paid more attention in stats. I wish I would have paid more attention to some of the more like analyzing, or like not math based, but chart reading and things like that than I did.
It's good to know. Good to know.
Yeah. Anything else?
It's not often you have access to somebody that's willing to just answer your every question that's in strategic comm. That's a pretty ripe opportunity.
What's the thing that sucks the most as an adult? Doing your own taxes.
Yeah, how do you manage the money? How do you manage the money side of it? Do you, the billing and all that? What do you do?
So I use QuickBooks to do all my billing. I do have to, since I'm a freelancer now and all of my income comes 1099. So that means that I'm responsible for paying my own federal taxes, which if you guys do have a part-time job or anything, usually they're taking that out for you, and you just, you get your little paycheck and you're good. For me, I have to basically, every time I get money come in, I have to set aside I set aside 30% of it. I set that aside in a business account, and then I pay my taxes quarterly, or what I estimate my taxes to be. So I literally have to like pay a tax bill every 3 months out of that 30%. The reason why I do 30% is because sometimes at the end of the year I have some left. Because it kind of fluctuates depending on your tax bracket. So, 30-35% gives you a good cushion to be able to pay all your tax bills, and then you still get like a tax return. But yeah, so you just have to also be a little diligent to not touch it. It, like, if you need, because then you end up in the back end being like, oh no, I owe $7,000 to the government. What am I gonna do? So that was a learning process my first year.
All right. Kayla, is that a new question you had?
Sorry.
What would you tell, well, what would be your plans in the future as time goes on?
My plan is to be able to buy a cottage in the woods and bake bread and have farm animals. No, that is my goal, but my goal work-wise is I want to get 2 or 3 more clients. I would like to be able to, by the end of this year, probably hire another freelancer, at least to start out, but be able to expand to the point where maybe I have 2 or 3 employees, and 5 or 6 really good accounts that I enjoy working on. And then obviously if my drop shipping company takes off, then you'll just catch me in Maui or whatever. I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Robert, did we skip you by mistake? Did you have another question?
Oh no.
No, I already asked it.
You already got it.
All right. Well, my I guess my parting words are study hard, take chances, have an open mind, send out as many job applications as you can, literally all of them that you can, because someone will answer you back, but it does take a few, so don't get discouraged if you only send 5 and you don't get an answer back. You gotta send like 25.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out. I know that as an entrepreneur, time is precious. So we really appreciate it. And, if anybody comes up with any last minute questions, can they fire off an email to you or something like that?
Yes, here, I will drop it in the chat. Also, if you do have LinkedIn, feel free to look me up. I will accept all of your requests.
Perfect. Thanks a bunch. All right.
All right. Thank you guys. Have
Thank
a good
you.
rest of your day.